So till last class, what I discussed was the two-sector model under circular flow of income diagram, and what we understood is that there are two important economic agents. One is farm, the other one is household, or households and farms, or consumers and producers. Farms produce the output. In course of production, they engage factors of production. The factors of production are owned by the household sector. So there is a factor market where factors are bought and sold. Farms buy the factors, households sell them. In course of doing so, income is generated for the household sector. What is income to the household is the cost to the farms. And once the output is produced, they are sold in the goods market, and all that is produced must be demanded by those who own the income. So the household sector is supposed to buy the goods and services which are produced by the farms. So if all that is produced by the farms is demanded by the household sector, the circle is complete. There is a fine macroeconomic balance. In a sense, you can say there is an equilibrium. The income is at equilibrium. Aggregate demand for goods is equal to the aggregate supply of goods. The value of the goods available in the market is equal to the income generated for the household. Hence, if the entire income is spent on demanding the goods produced in the goods market by the farms, the equilibrium is attained. Aggregate demand becomes equal to aggregate supply. So this is what I discussed in the previous class. Now, if I move to the three-sector model, what we shall do, in addition to the two economic agents, two different players, households and farms, we shall now introduce another economic agent, that is government. Every economy of the world has this particular structure. It's a three-tier model where there are farms, there are households, and also there is a government. The moment government comes to the picture, it earns income, and then it has to also spend that income. So in the presence of the government, what is likely to happen is, to make the model very simple, if there is government in a system, as I said that every economy has a government, every country has a government, then government is likely to levy taxes on the incomes earned by the people. Landowner, labor owner, capital owner, everybody would be earning some income in a particular time period, and a part of that income is paid as tax to the government, called income tax. So government earns the revenues or incomes in the form of tax. So if you recall, if you now find out from this circular flow, suppose let's say farms while producing the output have demanded factors from the households, and in course of doing so, the household sector has earned an income of 1,000 crore rupees. Let's say the total income of the economy is 1,000 crore rupees. That is the income part with the households. Now, in the previous model, what I showed is that entire 1,000 crore rupees could be spent by the household sector on demanding goods from the goods market. So all that the farms have produced is demanded. But now what will happen? The moment government comes to the picture, a part of the income will be leaked out, will be paid by the households as tax to the government. So total household income is 1,000 crore rupees, out of which, let's say, the tax rate is 10%. The government collects a tax of 10% of the total revenue, total income. So 100 crore rupees is transferred from the household sector to the government in the form of tax. Whatever is left with the household after the taxes are paid is called disposable personal income in the household with the household sector. It is at the disposal of the households to spend. It feels the way it feels like. But the household sector cannot spend 1,000 crore rupees. Suppose, take an example, suppose a particular individual's income in a year is 10 lakh rupees and he is asked to pay a tax of 1 lakh rupees to the government. So even if his total income is 10 lakh rupees, he cannot buy the goods and services, cannot spend 10 lakh rupees in that particular year, because that person has to pay tax to the government, and that amount which is paid as tax to the government cannot be spent because it has already been transferred from that person to the government. So what if, how much is left? It is 9 lakh rupees left with that individual. So that 9 lakh rupees is called disposable personal income. That is at the disposal of the households, that individual, to spend it as it feels like. So is the case with the entire economy. If the total income tax is 100 crore rupees, total income is 1,000 crore rupees, then the households are left with 900 crore rupees as disposable income. So they can spend on demanding the goods from the goods market worth 900 crore rupees. Households can spend up to 900 crore rupees. But how much is the value of the goods available in the goods market? It is 1,000 crore rupees. 100 crore rupees has been paid as tax to the government. So this tax has turned out to be a leakage in the income stream, because by that amount, the households are not able to spend on demanding goods from the goods market. But there is we can say that there could be a possibility of the government spending the entire income that it earns in the same year when it earns. And as it typically happens, suppose take the case of India, government spends on several heads. Government makes its own expenditure on the basis of the incomes it earns. So it provides subsidies. Like in a country like India, we have fertilizer subsidy, we have LPG subsidy, and so on. So we provide subsidy on various heads. We create infrastructure. Government creates infrastructure to promote industries in the country or to improve the quality of life of the people, or various kinds of public goods it provides. Okay, electricity or education, all these. You create several kinds of public goods. So government spends. So government earns to spend it on the goods and services. So if all that the government has earned is spent by it, then the total government expenditure turns out to be equal to the total taxes it collects. Then you can say government expenditure here becomes the injection. Tax is a leakage. So corresponding to the tax, there is a leakage which is equal to the, corresponding to the tax which is a leakage, there is an injection which is government expenditure. And if injection is equal to the leakage, the goods market is cleared. All the goods that are produced in the market by the farms are demanded. So even if government comes to the picture, still we can find equilibrium in the economy with respect to income, which implies that aggregate demand becomes equal to aggregate supply. Total income becomes equal to total expenditure. all that is produced is demanded, even if government comes to the picture. As you can observe here, I have put tax from both the sides. I mean, from the farms, from the households, just to show you that the income of the entrepreneur, even if it belongs to the household, as you know that farms are owned by the entrepreneurs. We can even show that farms are paying taxes like the others, households. So that is, we can only talk about households which pay all the taxes, or we can, realistically speaking, we can say that household is paying taxes from its income, farm is paying taxes from its income, and farm's income is basically entrepreneur's income. Just to segregate, but entrepreneur also belongs to the households. So that too we can remove it also. So that is the reason why I put the arrow mark from both the sides with respect to tax. However, we can even remove the arrow mark from the farms to the government. We can only talk about the total household income and correspondingly the total taxes. So as you can observe here, in a three-sector model, where along with households and farms, consumers and producers, when government comes to the picture, still we can have fine macroeconomic balance. Still equilibrium can be attained. Let me take you to the fourth sector model. So far I was talking about a closed economy, where there is no foreign trade. We did not talk about foreign trade in the previous two models, two-sector model and three-sector model. But as you know, in today's context, any economy of the world we talk about undertakes some amount of foreign trade. What does foreign trade involve? It involves export and import. There is export of goods, there is import of goods. So when foreign or external sector comes in, the model becomes a fourth sector model. It is an open economy model. The model that I talked about before this was a closed economy model. I mean, the three-sector model and a two-sector model, those were closed economy models. And this one is an open economy model where economy is opened up. There are exports and imports. Or we have yet another sector called external sector, which involves export and import. Then what will happen? If there is external sector, if there is export, and also if there is import as well, then what will happen? Now look at the same example I have taken. Household, in a particular time period, the household, all the households put together had an income of 1,000 crore rupees, out of which they paid a tax of 100 crore rupees to the government. They were left with 900 crore rupees. Now, so as I presented in the previous instance, the 900 crore rupees was spent by the households in buying the goods and services. We presume that would be happening. So what goods the household should be demanding in the previous instance? It was the domestic goods. The entire amount of 900 crore rupees, households were spending on demanding domestic goods. Similarly, whatever government earned us in the form of tax, it was considered to be spent on demanding the domestic goods. The goods which are produced within the domestic territory of a country. Suppose we say, as I have already said, that the value of the output is 1,000 crore rupees. That's what we have produced in our own economy. by engaging our own factors of production. Then in the process, we have generated an income of 1,000 crore rupees for the household sector. The value of the output that is available in the current time period is 1,000 crore rupees. All that we have produced must be demanded by those who have earned income when we have produced the output in the domestic territory of an economy. But what could happen when external sector comes in is that household sector, suppose I only talk about household sector which is left with 900 crore rupees after paying taxes, it could decide to spend suppose 100 crore rupees on demanding goods from abroad. The household sector would import consumer goods from abroad rather than buying domestic goods. It would buy the consumer goods from abroad. So by the amount by which the households do not buy our own goods out of their income, that amount remains unsold. However, if there is import, there is a possibility of export. We import cameras from abroad, we import computers from abroad, we import TVs from abroad and so on. Various kinds of things we import. Even our farms are also importing machines from abroad, inputs from abroad. If we import goods from abroad, correspondingly, we could also be exporting goods to other countries. If we are importing goods from USA, we could be exporting goods to Malaysia or Indonesia. If I am talking about the Indian economy. So if all that we export is equal to all that we import, then the economy is in fine balance. If 100 crore rupees of goods is imported from abroad, and at the same time, obviously that 100 crore rupees of goods will not be sold to the domestic consumers or domestic players within the country, but we find a market abroad. We export 100 crore rupees abroad, then export is equal to import. Again, we can attain a macroeconomic balance even if there is an external sector or even if the economy is opened up. So what we see here is that import is at another leakage similar to tax, because by the amount you import the goods, that amount cannot be spent on demanding domestic goods. So import is a leakage like tax. But corresponding to the import as a leakage, there can be an injection, that is export. Like tax is a leakage, government expenditure is an injection. Similarly, export is an injection when import turns out to be a leakage. So if again this leakage and this injection that we talk about is equal to the leakage, then even if the economy is opened up, the economy in question can continue to attain equilibrium. Let's come to the last sector, last model, that is the 5-sector model. In addition to the 4 different agents or players I have already talked about, now if we bring in financial sector, the banks and other financial institutions, if they come to the picture, what would be the likely consequences of the presence of the financial sector in the economy? Now again, going back to the household sector, household sectors had an income of 1,000 crore rupees. out of the income of 1000 crore rupees, it paid a tax of 100 crore rupees to the government. It was left with 900 crore rupees. It imported 100 crore rupees from abroad. It was left with 800 crore rupees to buy the goods from within the country. But there is yet another possibility. The other possibility is the households may decide to save a part of their income. From the current income, a part may be saved. Saving is nothing but refrainment from current consumption. Any amount of income we save decides how much we decide not to spend today in the current time period to demand current consumer goods. So in the presence of the financial sector, which is the which is a general trend across the globe, you have banks. People save money in the banks. A part of the income is being saved by the household sector to make that future secure. For various reasons, people save a part of their income. So what will happen if there is a saving of 100 crore rupees? The disposable, out of the disposable income of 900 crore rupees, 100 crore rupees is saved. The household sector is left with 800 crore rupees to spend. Again, 100 crore rupees goes towards import. It is actually spending 700 crore rupees on demanding domestic goods. Now, saving turns out to be yet another leakage in the income stream. Now, can there be a solution if there is saving? What can be argued is that if there is saving, where do we save money? We save money in the banks. When there is saving, correspondingly, there could be investment. We save a part of our income in the banks, and the deposits received by the banks may be utilized by them to lend to those who need it, who would like to invest. A particular firm likes to undertake a new business. So it would borrow money from a bank. And what is the source of bank's own fund? It receives deposits from the public. So the savings of the households become the lending options on the part of the banks. So what could happen is if all that is saved by the household sector is lent by the banks and other financial institutions to the firms for investment purposes, then there is yet another injection that corresponds to this particular saving, leakage, that is saving, that is investment. So if what is basically happening, the household sector doesn't demand the goods. What does the household sector demand? If you recollect what I have said in the previous class, anything the household sector demands is called demand for consumer goods. When the household sector demands, it demands consumer goods. But then what it has decided? A part of the income it has decided to save. So it is saved in the bank, and all that is saved in the bank is channelized towards productive investment by the banks towards the farms. Now, what would the farms do with this fund that they will collect from the banks? They will invest. So in course of investing in a new project, undertaking a new business, they borrowed 100 crore rupees from the banks, and what will they do with this 100 crore rupees? They will now buy the goods from the goods market. As farms, when they demand the goods, from the goods market to undertake their business, their demand is called the demand for investment goods or capital goods. So anything the farms demand in course of their production from the goods market is called demand for capital goods. Anything the households demand from the goods market is called demand for consumer goods. So what is happening here is that at the end of the goods market is cleared because the total supply of goods is equal to total demand for goods. One part is demand for consumer goods, the other part is demand for capital goods or investment goods. So what we can observe here is that even if there is bank, even if there is financial sector to come up, still we can attain equilibrium, implying that by aggregate demand can continue to be equal to aggregate supply. So what you observe, whether it is a 2-sector model or a 3-sector model or a 4-sector model or a 5-sector model, there is a possibility of an economy to attain macroeconomic balance, attain equilibrium. Aggregate demand can become equal to aggregate supply. So, but as I said, there is a possibility that the sum total of the injections becomes equal to the sum total of the leakages. If I talk about the 5-sector model, where I shall bring in all the economic agents, all the different players, then you see that there are 3 leakages. One is saving, S, another is tax, that is T, third one is M, that is import. Corresponding to these 3 leakages, there are 3 injections. I corresponds to S, that is investment. G corresponds to T, so G is government expenditure. X corresponds to M, that is X is export. So the sum total of the injections has to be equal to the sum total of leakages for the economy to attain equilibrium income. It is not necessary that exactly S has to be equal to I, T has to be equal to G, and M has to be equal to X. What is necessary at the aggregate level is that sum total of the 3 injections must become equal to the sum total of the leakages. Not necessarily one has to correspond exactly to the other. What is necessary is leakages together must become equal to, injections together must become equal to the leakages. That is what is necessary for the economy to attain equilibrium. But though we know that equilibrium can be attained when leakages, injections become equal to leakages, in real world situation, we might encounter disequilibrium. So this disequilibrium can be shown in 2 ways. Either injections are greater than leakages or injections are less than leakages. When the injections become greater than leakages, the economy experiences boom. You are into a phase of prosperity in the economy. The economy grows. But if, there is a tendency for the economy to grow. But if sum total of injections is less than the sum total of leakages, then there is deficiency in demand given supply. The total demand falls short of total supply. of output, which would lead to recession or contraction in the economic activities. You might have heard that because of the pandemic, Indian economy has experienced what we consider as or name as technical recession. An economy experiences recession when the GDP or the income of an economy becomes starts declining. The growth rate of the income is negative for 2 consecutive quarters. And as you know, in India, because of the lockdown, India's income started contracting, total income started contracting or declining. And the growth rate of income was negative. You might have heard in the very first quarter it was minus 23.9%. That means there was a decrease in the income compared to the previous time period we talk about. So and there are various reasons why it happens. One major reason of the recession to occur is that when the demand for goods and services falls short of the supply of the goods and services. Basically, the economy slows down because of the deficiency in demand given supply, leading to recession. So we see, though, as I discussed about 5 different models, starting from the 2-sector model to the 5-sector model, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 different models. It appeared from that as if macroeconomic balance is something very much easily attainable. It is not true. An economy in question may not attain equilibrium income automatically. Aggregate demand may not become equal to aggregate supply. There could be a possibility that injections become greater than leakages. When injections become greater than leakages, even if it is a state of disequilibrium, it may cause certain problems, but then this doesn't, it's not as serious a problem as the other one is. That is when injections become less than leakages. And that is what we always talk about. The problems of recession are what we always talk about. And we like to find out why an economy experiences recession, how we can overcome recession, how this kind of a disequilibrium in income flow can be corrected. So that's the topic I am going to discuss in macroeconomics, following certain macroeconomic theories, with the help of certain macroeconomic theories. So I will now stop here. I'll share another slide to deal with some theories of macroeconomics to address the problems of the equilibrium income that I have just talked about.